Participants, you are many times requested to please switch on your videos. अपना video on रखिए ना, please.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Faiza ma'am is just joining in 1 minute.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, participants, please, everybody be on mute. Asad sir, Faiza madam is joining in 1 minute.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Okay.
Good morning, ma'am.
Can I see Professor Asadullah Khan? Has he joined? Mazhar Asad Bhai, has he joined?
Yes, I have joined. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum, Professor Asad. Very hearty welcome to you. And it's a bright, sunny day today,
Yeah.
which is, yes, which is a very welcome, significant development after these gloomy, overcast days for about more than a year. So everybody, please be on mute now. Participants, can I request you all to be mute? Thank you so much. Please join me in welcoming Professor Asadullah Khan, the most highly reputed scientist of our university. And as I told you yesterday, that it means a lot to be a top performing scientist in this university, because anyways, this university is one of the top performing institutions of the country. So he comes from the Department of Biotechnology. He's the former director, one of the very promising, bright young professors of AMU. Highly, highly rewarded. If I start enumerating the various awards and accolades that have come his way, I think I'll eat up half the session. So I won't do that. Very reputed publications, and at the same time, an academic leader also of merit. He's heading the IQAC, and with him in this important position, we got the NAC A plus in 2020. That was a grading period which was delayed because of pandemic. And Professor Asad is also very empathetically grooming young research scholars of his stream and bringing them up to making significant contributions in the area of disease and pest management. And he'll tell you a lot more. Now, he is not here to teach you science. We know this is a faculty induction program. But because of the fact that research and development is an integral and crucial part of our own career development and of the development of our respective institutions, and I assume that 10% of you sitting here will sometime become academic leaders heading your institutions, or you will be a part of the institutional development plan, IDP, as envisaged by the National Education Policy. Professor Asad will be speaking to you about excellence in research. He is a very busy person. He travels widely, both in India and abroad. And we are ever so grateful that he always finds time for us. So thank you, Asad Bhai, for your time, for your timely presence here. I'm sorry I took a couple of minutes in coming to this class because we have two batches, actually, parallel batches. So, yeah, so all these more than 100 participants from across the country represent a mini India. And I'm sure here at this online platform of the UGC HRDC AMU, they will all benefit a lot from Professor Asadullah Khan. So it's over to you, Asad Bhai, and I wish everybody
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Faiza, for inviting and for giving me my brief introductions. And I think this is too much for me, for my recognition, because we have a globally, all around from across the country, people are here. And the most important thing for me is that they're diversified fraternity from different disciplines. So it may be good to interact them and to learn from them also. So I always feel I appreciate this kind of a platform to use as my own learning process rather than to teach you. With this, I just want to share my slides, and I think I'll move to. I think I cannot share the slides if. If Mazhar is here, is around, can you please?
Ji sir.
Can you please share these slides, because I'm not able to share the slides.
Sir, I have made you host.
So, okay.
I just need to check one
Yeah,
second.
I got it. But लेकिन वो dismiss करता है वो.
Just wait, sir. Just wait. I am just removing the thing. So,
Right.
yeah. Now, please check.
No, it's dismissing.
सर मैंने अब रिमूव कर दिया सब कुछ, आप देख लिया.
ठीक है. हाँ, right. Are my slides visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, it's invisible.
Yes,
And
sir.
Yes, sir. Slide is visible.
they are moving also.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Visible.
Okay, friends. So I'll be talking on the research excellence, and the research excellence. This is not like a some reference-based slides obtained from some kind of things. I made these slides at my own, and each slide is based on my own personal experience. So it is not a very formal slide or presentation, but I'll be more discussing with you and interact with you.
Sir, please enlarge the size from the below.
Yes, I'm doing it. Please wait, I'm doing it. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
This is
sir.
okay.
Okay.
Yes,
Are slides moving out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, okay. What is a research excellence, and why research excellence is important is because being an academician doesn't matter in which field we are, whether we are in science and technology, or within the science and technology in biology or science, physics, chemistry, or in allied sciences, or some applied sciences, or even the arts and humanities, right? Commerce and other disciplines. The most important thing for any academician is research. And research is, of course, the quality research is important. The quantitative research is not important. The quantitative research means like you are just quantifying your output of your research without any use, or without it is being used by others. But the quality research means you have to establish a quality research where you can produce, and the outcome of that research is being utilized widely, right? That is more important. So keeping that in view, I'll discuss you some of the important points. How you can improve your research profile, how do you measure the research profile at different stages of your career, as well as how do you proceed and initiate as a young researcher, as a young faculty, or young, teacher of a college or university, to initiate and to take up the research assignments. Plus, worse come worse, I would say, because which is mandatory process, because research is not a mandatory for universities and colleges. It is being made mandatory for the progress purpose and for accreditation purpose, where the matrices are required certain parameters which you have to do. Otherwise, your college and your academic profile will not be accredited properly, either through NAC or through any NIR ranking. So research is something in institution is mandatory. So this is the difference between HEI, which are academic teaching institutions, and research institutions. So in our country, the institutions are divided into two broad categories. One we call research institutions, another we call the teaching institutions, like universities and colleges. Whereas the research institutions are national laboratories, whether it is the CSIR laboratories, especially in the science and technology, or it is science and technology, DBT and DST laboratories, right? So, and laboratory here, I mean, like you have whole established institution where you have a lot of laboratories and different scientists are working in the different labs. So the research is mandatory. So the quality of research is generally seen in the research laboratories or in the national institutions of research. But if you talk about research laboratories in the universities or in the colleges, are weak in research for many purposes. We will discuss during my lectures. I mean, it is weak because of the fact that you don't have funding. It is weak because of the fact that you don't have proper infrastructure. And there's so many other reasons and factors. It is being because most of the teachers and most of the faculty members, they are involved in teaching, which is again a big assignment. So most of the time goes in notes preparations and teaching, right? Copies, paper preparations, copies, checking, and this evaluation duties and this and that. So 70 to 80% time is killed by the teaching assignments. I'm saying killed by teaching assignment in reference to the research, because at that time cannot be used by the researchers in any research. But having all these things being in it, because anyway, we are in university setup, we are in college setup, so we are in teaching institutions. So we have to optimize our whole life, our whole time being spent in the colleges and universities in the way that our teaching should not be affected. Number one, because it is a priority. And of course, besides the teaching, we can also do some research, and that quality research. So keeping that in view, I'll share some of the slides. How do you proceed towards how do you motivate it towards the excellence in research, right? So whenever you are not able to understand, please let me know, as well as whenever you feel that my voice is not coming, please inform, because there are some networking might be there. So number one is the motivation and passion, because now I have kind of make the full screen, so I'm not able to see anybody's on the screen because it's hidden. So I'm not aware about whether you are there on the screen or not, or I'm able to accessible to you or not. So please remind me or inform me if you are not able to get my voice. So motivation and a passion. Motivation and passion is something which is the prerequisite to initiate the research. Now, what does the motivation means? We all know it's the English word, motivation. How to motivate, right? What are your level of passion? आप कितना research में involve होना चाहते हैं? So, if you think that if it is of your interest doing research, right, then only you've been motivated and inspired by somebody's work, right, or have a passion to go. So this is a kind of a driving force to move on or to move further in order to get access on a command on the research, right? So it's a motivation and passion. Then of course, once you are motivated and you have a passion, then you have hard working capacity. If you are very motivated but you are not working hard, or you're not working at all to get your research done or involved in the research, then of course research is not possible. Now then comes to the manpower. The manpower which is involved in the research, because you independently are exclusively, you cannot do research as an individual or as a researcher or as a kind of a, as an individual person, as a teacher. But you need to have a team. Research is always done in team, whether it is a collaborative team or whether it is a team of your own lab, our own institution, our own college or university. So manpower which is involved in research in the form of students, GRF, SRF, research associates, or even faculty members. What are the criteria of recruitment of these manpower, right? So research will only be established, right? And it's not an overnight journey. It's a long time journey. Then only you have to select the high caliber researchers, high caliber manpower. So while you recruit them to retain. So first step is to identify, search the high caliber manpower, and then after recruitment you have to also responsibility to retain them. It's not like that you recruit it and he or she ran away. No, why do he or she will run away? It depends on so many factors we'll discuss in the consequent slides. Then come the infrastructure, because infrastructure is something which is primarily required for any research, even in arts and humanities. If you don't have a proper infrastructure, for example, if somebody's teacher is given a single room to sit and there's a 2-3 people are sitting together without any partitioning, without any kind of a separate room or cubicle, then this is also kind of a infrastructure. But a person is given a separate room, separate cubicle, separate infrastructure with a PC and table and almirah and so on. These I'm talking about the very basic things which are required at the college or at the university level for the newly appointed teacher. And even if it is not given to the teacher, where does he or she sit? If he or she cannot sit, then how can the work be done? How can he or she think over for the research problems? So basic infrastructures is very, very important. And of course, for science and technology and high caliber experimental research, you need to have the good laboratories with the full of equipment, good power, good water supply, cleanliness, and all kind of infrastructures, basic infrastructures and high-end infrastructures is required to attain the research. For that, you need to have investment. Now, how do you invest and from where do you invest is again a big question. You have to write a grant. So if you have a grant in your hand, then only you can invest to develop infrastructure. So these things are interconnected. You have a good infrastructure, you have a grants, you have to invest money, and to invest money, you have to fetch the grant. Now, suppose you have been given a project of any funding agency from DST, DBT, or ICMR, or IAR, or ICR, or in different funding agencies of different disciplines, they used to give the funds to start research. Then project timeline and time management is a very, very important to run the project. Now, based on my personal experience and have at least more than 24 of projects run to date in my almost more than 2 decades of services in the university and abroad, what I realized that there are so many factors involved to handle the project. The first step is writing a project to submit a grant for you doing your research is easy. But of course, whether your grant be sanctioned by the funding agencies or not is again a big question. So it depends on it's a very competitive grant. If you have written, you might get it. But if it is not competitive, you may not get. Now, once you get the grant, then how do you manage the grant? How do you manage the timeline of the grant so that in time all paperwork can be done and you can submit the all kind of proceedings and reports and certificates of utilization certificates and all, which are mandatory part of the grants, so that you can get in time the grant funds money to run your project, to run your research. Now, many times it happens if it is not properly managed. For example, you will not get the proper management on the grant and you somehow you miss the time, and in that case you cross the timeline and you may not get the fund of the second year. So you may not provide the funds, salaries to your manpower. You may not provide this funds to recruit or to procure the equipment or to recruit the manpower. So all these factors will in turn ultimately hamper or affect your research profile or your research outcome. And for that you have to set the priority timeline. Now, to write a project or to write a grant, here I'm talking about the methods and the way from where you obtain the funds and money in order to run your grant so that you can proceed and you can have better opportunity to do your good research. Because if you don't have money in your hand, you cannot run your project. Project here means like the projects of your research projects. For example, you have designed some problem. For example, you have a project in your mind that you have to clean some area of the city to make the infection-free zone. Just like, an idea. So for that, you need to have a manpower, you need to have some peoples and some equipment to clean it up, and so many other things are required, and funding. So if you don't have that funding, how do you proceed the big project of cleaning the particular zone of country or zone of city to make the infection-free zone? So this is how you have to generate funds. So what should be the mission and objective of your project? This is the first and foremost thing. So your mission should be very clear, right? It's a single line mission. Just like I have given an example that I have to clean a city, just like make a smart city. So my mission is to make a city smart. We call it smart city. And this smart city, it required not only the single thing, but it requires so many factors: road broadening, then you have greenery, right? Then you have kind of a sewage system, proper maintain the sewage system. Then you have a proper management of the complexes, shops, hospitals, and all. So all these things required money, maybe 1,000 crores, 100,000 crores. So that has to be sanctioned. So based on your mission, government sanctioned some money. So what are the objectives? Objectives are under the mission to make a smart city. Objectives are to broaden the roads for better traffic control, to provide the proper sewage maintenance, sewage treatment plants, broadening the sewer lines, right? Protecting the sewer lines. And your objective is to maintain the proper traffic control on the roads. So you have to have signals, lights, and all kind of roads, constructions, highways, and within the city you have a service lanes and so on. Then to develop a proper health system. So for that you have to have clinics and hospitals, proper education, to have proper schools, and so all these objectives under the mission of a smart city. Now, what are the project timelines? मैं इसके example इसलिए दे रहा हूँ कि because this is a very common project. I'm not talking about the scientific projects of a research lab. So that way it's difficult to understand for a specific people. But I'm giving you the broad idea about what does the project means and what does the mission and objectives and timelines means. For example, you have set this is a 5 years project, and you have a set timelines of first year you have to have one objective, then second year you have a second objective, third year third, fourth, fifth, like this. So you have to set a timeline of each objective. Now within the objective you have a sub objective also. For example, road broadening agar karna hai, so you have to have several objectives within the road broadening, like have to make the pavements, broadening the road, then maintaining the road, constructing the road with a DABA or RCC or whatever. So all these kind of things, and each thing has to be managed, right? When would you make RCC? When would you make the pavements? When would you make the tiles? When would you make the sewer lines? So all these timelines are to be set. Now, if you cross the timeline, then you cannot do anything. For example, that we have a very big projects of a airport at the Jewar near the Aligarh and between the Noida expressway. And this airport, the timeline is set for the airport. The first flight will be on sometime in 19 September 2024. So UP government has set the timeline. Now they'll fly first aircraft on 19th 2024. Now to attain that timeline, that date, they are working hard. They have to work hard. They have to increase the manpowers, and to attain that project, that objective of the project. So this is what the timeline means. Similarly, the same thing is in a case of lab. For example, I have to run a lab on drug designing. So my timeline is to have 5-year projects. I have to set a timeline of, in the first year, I have to work this thing. I have to design this molecule. In the second year, we have to synthesize the molecule. In the third year, we have to validate the molecule. In the fourth year, we have to preclinical trials in the animal models. And the fifth year, we have to launch that molecules for the human trials. And then we'll bring it into the market in next 2-3 years. So timelines are always very important. If you're not sticking on the timelines, you cannot attain your objectives. And so, of course, in turn, it affects the whole research processes. Now, who are the participants? मैं जो चीज बता रहा हूं आपको, these things are all related to the research. In general, specifically for research, and in general for every administration or every run to any organizations, whether it is institutions. Maybe you can be head of the institution. You can make your timeline for a project of running a university or college or institution. You can be a vice chancellor. So this lecture is also fit for the vice chancellor. So vice chancellor should have the timeline to run the institution, to attain the objectives in the next 5 years, what I have to do, how much funding we have to generate, how many admissions we have to take, and then how many faculties have to be recruited on the vacant positions. So any projects, any objectives can be made, and it depends on who you are. Are you a teacher? Are you PI? Are you professor, head of the department? Or are you principal? Are you dean? Are you vice chancellor? Are you director of the institution? So every authority who is under you, and you are running the show of your academics progress, then you have to maintain the timeline, project timelines. Now, who are the participants of that project? किसे होना चाहिए, किसे नहीं होना चाहिए? This is also very important. And who will select? So there should be rigorous selection procedure, whether at the level of the recruitment of the teacher, or whether at the level of the recruitment of the JRF and SRF of researchers. So again, I'm saying this lecture is true for young faculties and true for the vice chancellors and the administrators. So it is responsibility of the authorities to select the best teacher, to select the best students. It is responsibility of the PI to select the best students. You have a project and you have selected based on your relatives and friends' pressure and source and force, and the person who's been selected is of no use. And it happens many times in many institutions and many organizations. The selection procedure is not rigorous. The criteria of a selection procedure is not credentials of a candidate, but it depends on your PR. How's your public relation? How do you know that particular person? How close he or she is? So there's a number of factors involved in selection and procedures and interviews and during board members, but not the credentials. And that is the reason the quality is going down and down and down. And this is, I'm not talking about the one college or one university. This is the normal practice all across the country. Now, expected key findings. आपको पता होना चाहिए कि what are your expected key findings. This is very important. If you're not aware about the expected key findings, then your project is of no use. इसीलिए when you write a project, पहले ही लिखा जाता है उसमें what are your deliverable, what are your expected outcome and findings of your project. If it has a significance in line with what you have proposed, then only your project will be sanctioned for funding. All right. Now, research excellence basically promote and enable the ambitious research of exceptional quality. So you have to promote and enable the ambitious research of exceptional quality, means which is at par with the highest quality of research. To investigate in people, to support them and their research environment, thereby enabling Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, you are
Yes,
audible,
sir.
but
Yes,
your
sir.
study
Yes,
is not available.
Yes, sir.
My presentation is there
Yes,
or
sir.
not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it shared? Slides are shared?
No, sir.
No,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
No,
No,
sir.
review the
No,
flow,
sir.
sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No,
Slides
sir.
are not visible.
अच्छा, मैं
No,
just
sir.
आप बहुत अच्छी जगह बैठी हैं.
I think there is some problem from the HRDC. Mazhar Saab is there. Please help me to share the slides. I think again I'm not able to share. चलिए स्लाइड्स जो है ना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. मैं आपको समझ में तो आ रहा है ना आपके?
Yes, sir. This is okay.
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Your lecture is brilliant, sir. Smoothful.
हाँ, because slides are not important. वो खाली मैंने लिखा हुआ है. मैं आपको ऐसी बोलता हूँ, कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
Effectively completed.
So उसके अलावा ये hold on. Yeah. देखिए इसमें what is the most important thing is that the manpower faculty component जो है वो for university and institution is a very very important. So इसमें एक चीज मेरा व्यू ये है कि the university and institution should attract and recruit and retain the highest caliber staff. This is the very very important at every level, whether you are talking about the college level, or you're talking about the university level, or even at a laboratory level where you are as a PI. So what does attraction means? आपने एक बंदे को recruit किया and that person is recruited but may not be retained. Although he's a very or she's very high caliber person. So if you won't be able to retain, after 1 year he or she left from the lab, or you recruited a person, a very good teacher, but after 1 year he left or she left. So this is how, what are the practices to retain these staff is very, very important. I'll talk. And also to work toward an increasingly diverse staffing profile with varying expertise. What does it mean? It means you should also work on the diversified, experienced staff with a different profile. If you talk about in your laboratory level as a researcher, suppose I recruit a person who is having the expertise in bioinformatics. Another person I recruited who has a expertise in animal handling. Another person I recruited person who is a good in kind of a microbiological work. So having these three expertise in my lab, I can do better quality work independently. So this is what I mean diversified, and that's true for the colleges and universities recruitment process as well. ऐसा नहीं है सब आपने सारे फिजिक्स के टीचर भर लिए या सारे इकोनॉमिक्स के टीचर भर लिए या विद इन द फिजिक्स में भी आपने क्वांटम फिजिक्स के लोग सारे भर लिए. अगर आपको फिजिक्स में 3 टीचर चाहिए तो फिजिक्स में आप डिफरेंट तरह के डिफरेंट एक्सपर्टाइज के लोग लें. या आपको बायोलॉजी में या बायोटेक्नोलॉजी में डिफरेंट पीपल चाहिए तो यू शुड टेक ए डिफरेंट, एक मॉलिक्यूलर बायोलॉजी का होना चाहिए, एक इम्यूनोलॉजी का होना चाहिए, एक प्रोटीन साइंस का होना चाहिए, एंड सो ऑन. सिमिलरली, सो डाइवर्सिफाइड staffing and diverse experience of the staff members is very, very important to maintain the quality of institution in general, and for research in a specific way if you are working in the particular lab, and to support the staff in a personal and professional manner. So this point is basically important for the recruitment and for retention. How do you support the staff? For example, your college or you as a PI recruited a student from South. He's a very high caliber student as a GRF or as a RA or as a research associate or as a teacher in your faculty, in a staff. You are very happy that the person is very nice, very high caliber person, is a very good teacher, very good researcher. But how do you retain it? कल को वो भाग जाएगा वो आपका कॉलेज छोड़ के या लैब छोड़ के. क्यों? Because he is not aware about the different schools and colleges all around. He's not aware about the market. He's not aware about the several things in your area because he is new. So उसको personal level पे आपको support करना है. It is important to support your staff at a personal and professional level. Professional level पे तो हम लोग करते हैं. हमने उसे कमरा दे दिया बैठने के लिए, हमने उसको प्रिंटर दे दिया, एक पीसी दे दिया, एक अलमीरा दे दी, एक टेबल चेयर दे दी, and ask, okay, you have a very nice chamber, sit here and just do work. लेकिन that teacher or that newly appointed faculty, he's very new. He came from quite far apart from, for example, we recruited in Aligarh and he's come from South Chennai or some Bangalore or some other places, and quite far from here. Then he's not aware about the culture. He's not aware about the different markets and different places to move around and to enjoy and to entertain and to get the kids admitted our hospitals. So it is the responsibility of authorities, those who recruited, and it is the responsibility of the PI who recruited the student, that to take care of their housing, take care of their health, take care of their education of the children if they are married or they have kids, take care of their wives and so on. So all these things are the part of the personal support of the staff. And these are, I'm not saying these things at my own, but these are the regular practices of the universities like Oxford, MIT, Stanford, Yale, top universities of the world. And that is the reason people are attracted to these institutions. People are attracted and to retain be there. Even in India, the institution like IITs, they have very good infrastructures, they have very good support because they have been given a house, proper housing in the campus, proper clinics and hospitals and schools for kids. All these things have been provided within the campus, or they've been supported. So this kind of a culture is very, very important. And that's how the quality of the IIT's research is very good. If you talk about the IIC Bangalore, who is one of the top premier institution of the country, having very good facilities, they have clinics, they have hospitals, health services, they have a proper housing for the staff and for the students, they're very nice hostels, full facilities, the canteen, cafeteria, small shops, malls, markets. So all these things are provided within the ambience of the institution, right? I can give you many institutions name where this kind of facilities are provided to the staff, and they are doing very good. Like National Institute of Immunology, I know in my own field, NII, ICGEB, right, IGIB, these are all top premier institutions, but many universities may not have this kind of a culture. So I think that's the reason. If you compare the quality, there's no comparison between universities and IITs, or universities with ISC Bangalore, or universities with the research laboratories of even CSIR or DBT laboratories. So these are the important factors that we have to look into, and we we must focus on it. This is, I'm talking about right from PI level to vice chancellor level, or PI level to the principal and director level. This is true, and this is fit for everyone. If you want to improve the quality of your institution, you have to follow these things. If you want to improve the quality of your lab and research lab, then you have to follow these things. Now, institution has to work with the partners to create a world-class regional innovations ecosystem, right? So this is again very important, to create a world-class regional innovation ecosystem. Now, if you look the new policy NEP, maybe we'll talk this, we can discuss on the end of the session on this, that how does the NEP is driving towards the improvement of the education in terms of like creating an environment where we can outsource, or we can recruitment of faculties from outside and provide some dual degree programs and twinning degree and joint degree programs for our students. So that's a student supports and progression. Now, to build a strong and more constructive relationship with our local and regional communities. This is again very important. So to make a consensus, to make a coherence with the community, which is in vicinity to your institution, to your lab, you should have to maintain a proper relation with them. So we call the build a strong and constructive relation with the local and regional communities to make harmony and to make them to make them learn about the basic education, right? This is again very important to maintain and to build the whole ambience of the good culture of the educational institution, and to engage with the public and policymakers to shape our research and education, and to encourage the widest possible use of our research findings and expertise. Now, this is a very, very important. Now, this is basically the outcome, and this is the purpose of our research. So whatever you are doing should deliver. Whatever you are doing should have a strong outcome and to bring it to the society. Now, if you're not able to bring it to the society, then your research has no value. So first you try to maintain and to make the research to the level so that the society may get benefit. That's the ultimate goal. If our research is not able to reach to the society, right, then it means you are not able to justify, you're not justifying your research or your funding of the government and the public funding. So you must engage with the public and policymakers. So you make the research to the level so that the policymakers, based on the evidence, policymakers can make a policies based on your research, and that policies will ultimately give the benefit to the society. For example, if you have working on, for example, I'm working on the antimicrobial resistance for many, many years. So based on my research, government can make a policies that not use the antibiotics over the counter, don't overuse and misuse antibiotics. If these policies are made and the policies in the form of rules goes to the society, and society must stick on it and should follow them, these rules, the society will be benefited based on my research. So this is basically the ultimate purpose of the research of any discipline. Doesn't matter. I mean, social science and economics are a very, very important areas nowadays to work on the society and societal kind of upliftment. So this is very important. Now, through our international engagements, the university should aim maximize the global social, cultural, economic benefit right from our research and scholarship. So this is again a very important thing that what the international universities are doing, like universities abroad, like USA and UK, they're trying to make a lot of internationalization And this is also new policies. NEP is also promoting the internationalization of the institutions through different means. So we should also try to engage our research in different means through universities and to make a global social, cultures, economic benefit, so that we can have a lot of global social links all across the globe. We should exchange the cultures and economic benefits, where you can exchange the economic benefits derived from our research. So whatever research you are doing, either in the form of scholarships, fellowships, or chairs, you can get benefit of it globally. This is also one of the goals of this research. No, resources funding is another very important, crucial entity, a crucial thing to build any institutions of excellence. किसी भी लैब में आपको एक्सीलेंस अगर शो करना है, या किसी भी लैब में अगर आपको, या किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूशन में अगर आपको एक्सीलेंस शो करना है, तो resource generation is the primary goal of the authorities. If you as the PI is authority of your lab, it is your responsibility to generate funds. If you are a vice chancellor of any university, a director of institution, it is your responsibility that to generate funds and resources for the faculty members to progress. Of course, faculty members should also support in that proposals through their primarily work, data, right, and support and experience. But primary goal is the authorities that to generate funds and generate the resources for, whether it is the students or it is the faculty members. So students has to manage, our institutions has to manage the financial resources to ensure the university's long-term sustainability. Now, what is the long-term sustainability? Long-term sustainability means like you are working in certain area and you maintain that. For example, you have established a lab. You have got a fund of 100 crores and you establish one lab in your institution, in your college or in your university. Now, after 5 years or 6 years, when the project is end, then the lab is lost. No maintenance, no AMC, no manpowers, no salary. It's all like garbage. So this is not good practice. What is good practice is to, इसीलिए गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की जो पॉलिसी है वो ये है, once they have given you the infrastructures, then university should maintain, our college and you should maintain through your own generated resources for the sustainability for at least for 10 years, right? जो equipment आपने 2.5 करोड़ का खरीदा है, या 1 करोड़ का खरीदा है, या 50 लाख का खरीदा है, या 25 लाख का खरीदा है, उसको at least you have to maintain 10 years, 5 to 10 years. So 5 to 10 years, if you won't be able to maintain that equipment, then there's no use of that equipment. Cost, you cannot maintain the cost. So to maintain them, you have to maintain the AMC, maintenance grant, that you have to generate. So this is what your responsibility. This is what the responsibility of the institutions after the grant is being given through any funding body. Now, to ensure the government public funding, we provide an environment which promote world-class research education, and to continue to invest in information technologies capabilities to enhance the quality research and education, and to streamline administrative process and to facilitate its operational part. So what is more important is also to invest in information technology so that you can capable to enhance the quality research. For example, you don't have any computer systems, you don't have any PCs, right? You don't have any kind of a IT lab. Then it would be a difficult task to carry on the good research if it is required. It should also raise funds to support high caliber students, invest staff, faculties in the research, and provide new resource and infrastructure setting. So again, for carry out the good research, you should have to spend a lot for it. For example, if you don't have a fellowship, no students will come to you. But if you have a fellowship in your hand as a funds, then you can recruit students. You can recruit the high caliber students, and these students can be a good asset for you, whether it is for your institution or for your lab, and you can do good quality research. Now, what are the core values? So now I'm coming to more of like core research. So far we talk about the support part of the research, right? Now, what are the core research? It's the transparency, inclusiveness, diversity, imagination, practicality, and ethical approval. So these are the 6 parameters which I thought, based on my experience, are important for carry on the quality research. What does the transparency means? Quickly, I'll tell you. Transparency means whatever research you are talking about should be transparent. There should not be any kind of a disparity or parity in the problems designed to carry on the research. So your research problem should be very transparent, and transparency should also lie when you talk about the collaborations and interaction with the students and with the faculty members on the same problems in terms of like a collaborative research projects. So you should discuss with black and white. Like, this is what we are doing, this is what you have to do. So there should be total transparency and exchange of ideas within the group. Inclusiveness and diversity are very important. You should include all possible parameters that are required for the research in that particular domain. This is very specifically with reference to a specific problem that you design, a specific objective that you design. What are the inclusiveness? Then, of course, diversity. Diversity, I can explain you in terms of like my own research. For example, I work in AMR and drug designing and drug resistance problem. Then I have to have a diversity in expertise in animal models, expertise in infection control, expertise in bioinformatics, expertise in immunology, molecular biology. So if we have a diversified mode of evidences to prove my problem or my hypothesis, then only you should have a good research. Nowadays, to publish good research, you must have the diversified experience of the students and of the faculty members to carry on this kind of research. If there's no diversity, the acceptability will be less. If you increase the diversity, acceptability rate will be increased. It's a simple rule. Imagination of your ideas is very important. How far you can go, how deep you can think of and imagine, but with the condition. The practicality part or the implication part of that imagination should be feasible. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपने कुछ ऐसी चीज सोच ली जो पॉसिबल ही नहीं है हमारे लिए दुनिया में करना, ठीक है? तो we have to think which is possible based on the infrastructure that you have, based on the resources that you have, available resources, and based on the experience and expertise you have. It's very, very important. Otherwise, you will face a lot of problem and you'll not get a success in your problem. And keeping all these problems that you identified, the ethical approval is important. You must approve all these things, or get approved from any authorized institutional ethical committee. So this is also very important. Now, this slides, this is what I'm going to discuss now is based on your research thesis. Now, ultimately, I'm coming from top to bottom. So your whole vision and mission from top at the institution level, lab level, and then come to your core research at the thesis level. How do you make a thesis? As a college teacher, as a university professor, a university teacher, how do you write a thesis, or how do you guide a thesis rather to your students? So the first step is the literature search, right? Number one, for example, you have given a problem to your students, so you ask them to search a literature. It should be original, innovative idea. अब इतना भी इनोवेटिव ना हो कि उसका एप्लीकेशन ही ना हो कोई. It should have application. There should be proper applicability of this objective. It should have a need-based research. Need-based research मैं इसके एग्जाम्पल ऐसे देता हूँ कि जैसे इस वक्त the most important in health science, the priority is the viral infections, right? Viral infections and antimicrobial resistance is the most priority research area and most priority area, right? Filariasis and other kind of tropical diseases which are the least interest and least priority may not be as important as AMR or antimicrobial resistance and vaccine development ho ya interventional studies kuch aur ho. It's very important. So what is the need of a society? आज से 200 साल पहले 250 साल पहले जो researchers थे, Robert Koch, Pastors and so many others, they worked on the need-based research. उस जमाने में economy, world economy जो थी, that was based on the sheep wool. भेड़ की जो sheep की wool होती है, उस पे उसको बनाते थे वो कपड़े, गर्म कपड़े, and they sell it, and the whole economy is based on that. उसके अंदर डिजीज एक एंथ्रेक्स नाम सुना होगा, एंथ्रेक्स बैक्टीरिया, उसकी डिजीज आ गई, एंथ्रेक्स हो गया उनको. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ द एंथ्रेक्स व्हाट हैपेंड, द शीप्स स्टार्ट डाइंग, मरने लगी, ऑल डेड, एंड इट इंपैक्ट द होल इकोनॉमी ऑफ द एट द टाइम फ्रांस एंड जर्मनी. एंड व्हाट हैपेंड, especially in Germany, what happened, the government asked the scientists that to work on this disease, because at that time it was not known what this disease is all about. Then later on they discovered, okay, this is anthrax disease caused by one of the bacteria. So need-based research is always very important. It also affect the whole economy of the country or economy of the world, right? Then what should be the methodology and strategy? It should be latest technology based methodology. आप जो भी adopt करें methodology, वो technology based होना चाहिए, right? Validation, मतलब you should have properly validated to the level of satisfaction. Whatever data you generate through your methods or through your strategy you adopted, that should be validated. And the validation is based on some experimental data or statistical data in case of non-scientific subjects like arts, social science, and humanity. Then comes the data interpretations. Now, data interpretation is very important. To me, as a scientist or as a researcher, none of the results is a negative. Every result is a positive for me, because I look at the result and see how can we interpret that results. So if you can interpret that results in a positive way, you can make use of these interpretations and cause a positive study. But if you won't be able to interpret the results properly, then of course that research is of no use. All right. Now then comes the conclusion prospects. What are the conclusion of your whole study? That's we call the take-home message. पूरी रिसर्च आपने कर ली 5 साल में, 3 साल में, 4 साल में. But at the end of the day, what is the outcome? How do you conclude the research? So conclusion is very important. So all these factors are basically the compilation of the thesis. And at the end, you can produce your product or your research outcome in terms of like a take-home message for the society or for the community or for as a conclusion. And what would be the future prospects of that research is again very, very important. So अगर आपकी रिसर्च से कुछ चीज लीड नहीं कर रही है, फ्यूचर प्रॉस्पेक्ट्स कोई नहीं है उसके, तो रिसर्च की वैल्यू नहीं होगी उसकी. दिस इज आल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. Then we come to the quickly in 5 minutes we'll talk about the supporting component. What are the different funding agencies? How do you get support? What are the research grants? तो इसमें देखिए there are 3 types of projects, research grants. एक होती है EMR, extramural research grant, right? Extramural research grant जो है वो basically फंडिंग एजेंसीज जो हैं वो बाहर से इंस्टीट्यूशंस को देते हैं, जैसे डीएसटी है, डीबीटी है, आईसीएमआर है, आईसीएआर है, और आर्ट्स ह्यूमैनिटीज की बहुत सी फंडिंग एजेंसीज हैं। ठीक है, एक होती है इंट्राम्यूरल। इंट्राम्यूरल जो है वो इंस्टीट्यूशंस के पास जो गवर्नमेंट से ग्रांट आती है, उस ग्रांट का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन जो होता है डेवलपमेंट सेक्शन से, वो इंट्राम्यूरल ग्रांट्स कहलाती है। वो आपकी यूनिवर्सिटीज अलग अलग तरीके से बांटती है। सो एक्स्ट्राम्यूरल फंडिंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू फेच, टू गेट। अब उसमें ज्वाइंट रिसर्च ग्रांट्स होती हैं, इंटर एंड इंट्रा इंस्टीट्यूशनल ग्रांट्स होती हैं। आजकल जितनी भी ग्रांट्स आ रही हैं फंडिंग एजेंसी जितनी भी हैं, वो सारी फंडिंग एजेंसीज जो हैं वो बेसिकली आपको कोलैबोरेशंस मोड पे दे रही हैं, चाहे विद इन द इंस्टीट्यूशंस कोलैबोरेट करें या आउटसाइड इंस्टीट्यूशन कोलैबोरेट करें। इन बोथ द केस you should have collaborations. Individual faculty member, I have run several grants as individual PI, before 2012 and 10. But 2012 and 10 onward, they make mandatory to collaborate as a co-PI, either from India itself, within your institution, or some other institutions of the country. Or if it is international grant, of course you can have collaboration from other countries. So there are different categories of grant. जैसे कुछ ग्रांट इंस्टीट्यूशन लेवल पे होती हैं, कुछ ग्रांट्स डिपार्टमेंटल लेवल पे होती हैं। इंस्टीट्यूशन लेवल की ग्रांट्स में आपको कुछ एग्जांपल देता हूँ। जैसे डीबीटी बिल्डर्स प्रोग्राम है, दिस इज 10 crores ग्रांट। पर्स ग्रांट है, इट डिपेंड्स ऑन योर एच इंडेक्स, गिव यू अप टू 30, 50, 40 crores of grants of the institutions, including several departments can join hand. TechUp is engineering college, engineering faculty grant, which is also institutional grant, which is also good grant. It has traveling grant, it has a SRF, GRF, fellowships, contingency, and so many other funds, overhead funds. Then you have a departmental grants we call FIST grant, DRS grant, UGC grant. So all these grants are UGC, DRS programs, DST, FIST programs. So all these fundings are within the department. So all faculty members can be benefited if the grants come in the department. They provide the infrastructures, strengthening the infrastructures, fellowship to the students. And then extramural grants can come to the individual faculty members, where they can recruit students in collaboration with some other institutions also. Inter and intra-institutions collaborations can also be possible, but multi-centered projects are always preferred. Now, my last slide is on gauging the research excellence. What is your research excellence? How do you gauge your research excellence? So, number of publications is one of the parameters. Q1, Q2, we call quartile nature of publications, whether it is a Q1 and Q2. Then overall impact of publications, then H index and citations. So all these parameters are basically judge you where you stand. अगर आपके अच्छा number of publications are not very important. मैं यहाँ कहता हूँ because number of publication is something which is I mean it could have a value, but the quality is more important. Quantity is not important, right? Q1, Q2 is, you all know this quartiles came in a couple of years back. Then Q1 and Q2 are the top journals. So they're not focusing on more on impact factors, right? Because impact factors, something is make people fool. Many journals which are not very good, but they are somehow they manage the impact factors through self-citations or through because impact factor based on the citation of the journals, article published in the journals, many times cited in other journals. So this is the basis of the impact factor. Now, what is your H index or what is your citations? Again, it is a controversial parameters. Although there's a lot of institutions, international institutions, Stanford recently released a ranking of individual scientists based on H index and citations, which is not very relevant, at least to me. I don't trust and I don't believe much on these parameters. What I believe is that your own research, satisfactory research, and the research which reach to the society and which has an impact in the societal impact, high societal impact, as well as which has an impact on your own research field, has more value, more recognition than counting the impact factor, counting the number of papers, counting the H index, and these are all the derived, calculated statistical parameters which is automatically come to you. I never calculate my H index. I never worry about my H index. I cannot control on my H index. I cannot increase my H index. If we do quality research work, automatically the more of my papers will be cited. Moreover, citation is also one of the big scam of promoting the researchers. Now, comparison of a citation across the discipline does not make any sense. For example, कॉलेज में बायोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट में एक ही डिपार्टमेंट की बात करता हूँ, उसमें एक बंदा जोलॉजी का है, एक बॉटनी का है, एक बॉटनी में भी एक फिजियोलॉजी का है, एक प्लांट बायोटेक्नोलॉजी का है, एक जेनेटिक्स का है. फिजियोलॉजी वाले के साइटेशन जो हैं वो बहुत ज़्यादा है, 10,000 साइटेशन कहता है वो मेरे. जेनेटिक्स वाले के साइटेशन जो हैं वो सिर्फ 3,000 साइटेशन है. Because working in the field of genetics is difficult and the results outcome take more time and less number of papers published and less number of people are working in genetics compared to the physiology. Every second person working in physiology, because it's easy science to learn, to know, to explore, and large number of papers published, obviously you have a more citation. So ultimately, individual person, those who are working in the area of physiology would definitely get high citation. So there's no comparison between the person who's having genetics background and the physiology background, and to compare, Mr. X has a very high citation compared to Mr. Y, and Mr. Y may be humiliated in the department at certain occasions, promoting the other fellow of a high citation does not make sense. ये इसकी कोई value नहीं है. Citation is confined to individual factors, cannot be compared. हाँ, आपके जो citation है वो हैं, आपके work के basis पे हैं, that's enough. But you cannot compare your citation with your X, Y, Z colleagues. They have a different kind of citation. But citations of are different. But citations of within the field may have some value, right? So, but these are some parameters which are even the very many funding agencies and many awarding agencies or awarding organizations, they judge you on the basis of that credentials. Otherwise, there's no other way. Nobody can read your papers and look the quality, because sometimes many jury members may not aware about your work. They cannot understand your work easily, because core research is very specifically known to you. Now, how do you recognize? Your recognition will be national and international by. आप कैसे recognize करेंगे कि मैं बहुत recognize हूँ? उसका तरीका ये है कि आपके पास invitations आएंगे invited speakers के. वैसे आप हमें लेक्चर दे दीजिए, आप हमारे यहाँ ये कर दीजिए, आप हमारे यहाँ रिव्यूअर हमारे हो जाइए, हमारे पैनल में आ जाइए, वगैरह वगैरह. So these are some parameters which judge you that you have been recognized both nationally and internationally. You have been invited for the reviewers of the journals, and you have been invited for editors of the journals, right? So these are some parameters that you can judge your research where you stand. Now, what are the outcome of your research or excellence research is commercialization of your research, topmost. Technology transfer is again, technology transfer is something which you can hold the copyright and transfer the technology and earn money out of it. Then granted patents. So you have patenting, but granting is something, to me, is if it is not commercialized, does not have much weightage, because it means you hold the technology and you don't allow anybody else till 20 years to work on it, and yourself is not commercializing, so it is of no societal use of that technology. Yes, your CV can be decorated by, say, I am this many patents, I am this many patent granted, and this many patent published, and so on and so forth, but not more than that. Okay, let me take a call. This is Assalamualaikum.
नमस्ते
जी
सर.
जी
सर मैं डॉक्टर रवि कुमार सिंह RDN DJ. भाषा में या वैज्ञानिक तरीके से कैसे आ नहीं पाता है?
Just please, I'm just taking one 5 minute because I have a call from Vice Chancellor to get some information. So I just collect the information. I'll call back.
Yes, sir, sure, you can take.
Just give me 5 minutes.
Sure, sir, sure. Take your time.
Thank you. Okay, I think there was some important meeting in the commission today. So our Vice Chancellor was there. So I, in the capacity of the Director IQAC, is respond some queries. So I'll just get back to you in 5 minutes. हाँ, मैं अभी इन द मीन टाइम वो मुझे मैसेज करते हैं, आप जब तक हम लोग बात कर लेते हैं. यस प्लीज, इफ यू एनी क्वेरी ऑन दैट प्लीज. एम आई ऑडिबल?
भाषा या
Yes, sir.
साहित्य?
जी सर।
हाँ,
You
कोई-
are-
कोई-
भाषा या
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
मेरा लेक्चर तकरीबन खत्म हो गया. इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चन तो अभी पूछ सकते
वैज्ञानिक
हैं.
विधि क्या हो सकती है?
हाँ
क्योंकि भाषा में
हाँ
भाषा में वैज्ञानिक शोध कैसे किया जा सकता है? क्योंकि भाषा तो अनिवार्यतः काव्यात्मक होती है।
हाँ, मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ. देखिए, दिस इज वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन. ऐसा है, भाषा में रिसर्चेस तो हो रही हैं. आपने भी पीएचडी किया होगा और लोग ने भी पीएचडी किया है भाषा में, क्योंकि मैं भाषा से बिलोंग नहीं करता हूँ किसी भी. तो अब जैसे हिंदी है या इंग्लिश है या आपका एनी लैंग्वेज यू कैन सी, चाइनीज है, कोई फ्रेंच है, तो इसमें जो रिसर्चेस होती हैं वो हिस्टोरिकल बेस्ड रिसर्चेस होती हैं. मतलब जो मुझे पता है, जिसमें आपको भाषा कहाँ से निकली, भाषा का ओरिजिन क्या है, ठीक है. भाषा में देखिए, आप कोई मॉडिफिकेशन भी कर सकते हैं, मुझे लगता है, बिकॉज इफ यू आर फ्रॉम भाषा, यू कैन लैंग्वेजेस, यू कैन स्लाइटली मॉडिफाई सम स्क्रिप्ट्स एंड मॉडिफाई द मोड. जैसे एक आपको याद होगा, आज से हम लोग जब स्टूडेंट्स थे, छोटे थे, तो उसमें एप्लीकेशन लिखते थे, तो उसका जो पैटर्न होता था एप्लीकेशन लिखने का, लैंग्वेज का, वो बिल्कुल डिफरेंट होता था. विद ड्यू रेस्पेक्ट और ब्ला 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 ब्ला, दुनिया भर की चीजें उसमें लिखते थे. नाउ द पैटर्न इज एंटायरली चेंज. फॉर्मेट भी चेंज हो गया, पैटर्न भी चेंज हो गया, कंटेंट भी चेंज हो गया. सो आई थिंक दिस इज ऑल बिकॉज ऑफ सम because of some researches and because of some deep thinking, how we can change and modify these kind of things. So I think these kind of things can be done, and I don't know if I convince you. मैंने आपको अगर कन्विंस कर दिया हो तो, क्योंकि रिसर्चेस तो कहीं भी हो सकती हैं, किसी भी हिस्ट्री में रिसर्च, सोशल साइंस में रिसर्च हो सकती है. रिसर्च का नाम ये है, देखिए, रिसर्च का नाम ये है किसी भी एग्जिस्टिंग चीज के अंदर कुछ परिवर्तन लाना, और वो परिवर्तन हमारा इस्तेमाल कैसे सोसाइटी में होगा, कैसे हम उसको इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, ये चीज बेसिकली रिसर्च है. रिसर्च का पर्पज ये है कि हम सोचें बार बार उसको परिवर्तन. अब जैसे आप ही देखिए, लैंग्वेजेस हैं, लिखते हैं, जो कितने स्टाइल्स हैं उसके अंदर. हमारे जमाने में कर्सिव राइटिंग होती थी, अब इटैलिक है, और hundreds and dozens of fonts are there. So वो भी मैं समझता हूँ रिसर्च का एक पार्ट है. People have made the different kind of a script and presentation. Calligraphy है. लैंग्वेज, अब जैसे इंग्लिश है, इंग्लिश में लोग रिसर्च करते हैं. शेक्सपियर एक नॉवलिस्ट, एक कैरेक्टर है, उसके बारे में आपने रिसर्च करी कुछ, उसका मोड ऑफ राइटिंग क्या था, इस पे आपने रिसर्च करी, ठीक है. तो आई थिंक रिसर्च तो इट्स only question of thinking. Yes, any other question?
Yes, sir.
नमस्कार।
सर Q1 Q2 आपने भी एक्सप्लेन किया था, क्या उसको आप डिटेल में बताएंगे? Q1 Q2
अभी बताता हूँ। एक सेकंड है। जी सर, मैंने सर मैंने आपको भेज दिया वो। देखिए Q1 Q2 जो है ये क्वार्टाइल इन्होंने लेवल्स बनाए जर्नल्स के, क्वार्टाइल 1 2 3 4 and based on certain matrices they have set the quartile 1 and 2 are the best journals। ये इन्होंने impact factors और इसके डिफरेंट पैरामीटर्स जो जर्नल्स के जो पब्लिशर्स होते हैं उसके पैरामीटर्स उसके क्रेडेंशियल के बेसिस पे उन्होंने इसको कैटेगराइज किया है। इसमें आपको एग्जांपल देता हूँ। हम लोग की फील्ड में मैं बायोकेमिस्ट्री बायोटेक्नोलॉजी से हूँ। सो बायोटेक्नोलॉजी बायोकेमिस्ट्री में एक जर्नल्स है जो अगर हमारे इस पैनल में इस ग्रुप में अगर कोई बायोलॉजी या बायोटेक्नोलॉजी के हमारे टीचर्स होंगे या जो स्टूडेंट्स होंगे वो उन्हें पता होगा, बायोकेमिस्ट्री नाम से एक जर्नल है। हाँ मिल गया, मैंने भेज दिया। ठीक है, मैं भी एक सेशन में चल रहा हूँ। तो मैंने बायोकेमिस्ट्री नाम का जर्नल है, वो 2.3 2.9 या 3 मैक्सिमम इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर है उसका। There are many journals which are having high impact than biochemistry journal, but their credentials are very, very low based on the mode of publications, which publishers, how frequently they are publishing, what are the quality work coming in that papers. Although impact is more, देखिए impact factor का quality से ताल्लुक है, but impact factor is totally based on how many times your journal is cited in others research. जी सर, जी 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 समझे साहब। तो ये उससे ताल्लुक है इसका। तो हम लेकिन मेजॉरिटी ऑफ लोग क्या है वो इम्पैक्ट पे जाते हैं। इम्पैक्ट्स का एक स्कैम है। आई नो मेनी जर्नल्स दे हैव बीन ब्लैक लिस्टेड बिकॉज ऑफ आस्किंग द ऑथर्स टू साइट देयर जर्नल्स। फॉर एग्जाम्पल जैसे मैंने एक जर्नल में छापा, पेपर आ रहा है, वो जर्नल का एडिटर लिखता है कि यार प्लीज साइट these references। When I see these references are those which are published in that journal. So it means they want me to cite this journal many times. If 100 authors, अगर 100 authors publish कर रहे हैं उसके अंदर, तो 100 authors publish जो कर रहे हैं वो अगर 3-3 दफे भी उन जर्नल को डालेंगे तो 300 दफे उसका साइट हो गया। तो this is a game. Quality has nothing to do with that. Quality तो ये है कि आपने एक चीज छापी और उसको पूरी दुनिया ने उसको लाइक किया और उसको पढ़ा, उसका इम्पैक्ट पड़ा जाके सोसाइटी पे। दैट्स फॉर द, इसी पे नोबेल प्राइज मिलता है। नोबेल प्राइज सोसाइटल इम्पैक्ट वर्क पे पड़ता है। अभी कोविड-19 पे इतना क्विक नोबेल प्राइज मिला है सिर्फ इसलिए कि वह वैक्सीन बनाई, सब पूरी दुनिया में उन्होंने फैलाया। अब मैंने गलती से ये छेड़ दी बात कोविड-19 की, बट इट इज कंट्रोवर्शियल आल्सो, आई शुड नॉट से, बट I too not believe in that, but it should have proper acceptability जो वर्ड की है वो है कि हाँ साहब इसकी बड़ी वैल्यू है, तो उसको फिर रिकॉग्नाइज किया जाता है। इसलिए क्वार्टाइल 1 क्वार्टाइल 2 इन पैरामीटर्स पे रख के बनाए गए हैं। तो बहुत से जर्नल्स इनके क्वार्टाइल 1 में है लेकिन इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर बहुत कम है। बहुत से जर्नल्स हैं हाई इम्पैक्ट है लेकिन क्वार्टाइल 1। तो अब जो करंट मेजरमेंट, करंट जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग है साइंटिफिक कम्युनिटी की, वो क्वार्टाइल Q1 Q2 जर्नल्स भी है। इंटरनेशनली आई एम रिव्यूइंग सो मेनी कमिटीज इन इंटरनेशनली, स्विट्जरलैंड, फ्रांस, ये एंड देयर, मलेशिया। तो उसमें जो रिव्यूज होते हैं उनके प्रोजेक्ट्स के या उनके सिलेक्शन के, उसमें क्वार्टाइल 1 2 पूछते हैं। वो ये पूछते हैं साहब इन्होंने कितने इम्पैक्ट में छापा है, Q1 में कितने जर्नल हैं, कितने पेपर हैं, Q2 में कितने पेपर्स हैं। सो आई थिंक दिस इज हाउ द थिंग्स आर चेंज। आई थिंक आई एम क्लियर ऑन दैट।
Thank you, sir.
So anybody else?
Sir, I want to ask some questions.
Yes, yes,
This
please.
is regarding, I'm from English literature, and
Yes,
my
please.
question is regarding the funding opportunities, because when it comes to arts and sciences, the opportunities are very limited, and most of those opportunities don't even exist. So they exist on paper, but when we try to apply for them, there is no availability, or even if they are available, then they are very intelligently sort of deviated to other streams, particularly to social sciences and pure sciences. Is there any solution that I can adopt?
So it means, you mean what I understood regarding the journals which are available in the field of English are
Not
not.
just journals, sir, even for research funding opportunities like
Okay,
projects,
okay.
major
Right.
projects. So,
Yes, I can understand, because nowadays most of the funding agencies are more inclined toward the uh, most of like social science, economy, and which has a direct link to the society. So true, but I think consultancy part and some consultancy projects can be carried out by English language peoples, because we have in AMU also several, I know, English and Hindi professors and young professors, those who are doing some consultancies in Arabic and Hindi and English, and through consultancy they generate some money, and that money is basically more of yours, and some percent of it goes to the universities. So, and not much probably the funding is required until unless you have like a basic infrastructures like your system, your laptop, PCs, and sitting space, and office space. That's it for perhaps an internet connectivity. Probably that may help you a lot, because unlike we need to have like a lakhs of rupees yearly to spend on experiment and on chemicals and reagents and equipment to generate the data. So this is I can say this is advantage at your level, because we are in crisis many times to generate data, but probably you are not in a crisis to generate data. You can, without having funds, you can do something just by thinking and writing through a simple PC and laptop. So that, probably that is the reason that many funding agencies thought that they may not put funds in that field. But it does not mean that you have been discriminated from the society. But I think this is because of the fact that the kind of discipline that you have is of a kind that can be survive even without much funding, I would say.
thank you, sir.
Hello,
So,
sir. Assalamualaikum.
good
Sir,
morning, sir. This is Dr.
Morning.
Sarita.
Yeah.
My
the question is this. Yeah, actually, at a time of the recruitment, you have
sir, things are going to change.
Yes,
Excuse me. May I have
I think there
interrupted
is.
someone?
yeah. Okay, you
Please,
carry on. I'll ask my
Please, Dr.
question.
Sarita, carry on.
As Madam has asked, Chatterjee ma'am has asked, actually, I'm feeling same. But nowadays, things are going change. If so many studies are coming in English literature as traumatic studies and other studies also coming, and we are doing with the help of medical science. So for that we need much funding. And as I'm feeling same as Chatterjee ma'am was feeling, okay, we are funding very less, but things are very changeable nowadays, and study is going on further. Means, as I have said to you, this is traumatic studies and other studies also. So with medical science, we are indulging and we are doing different researches on it. So English literature is not refined only to conceptual researches now. So it is changeable, sir. So we need funds and all. So what ma'am is saying right. So what will
Yeah,
be
I think
the solution?
I think for that, if you can uh, make a strong proposals, collaborative strong proposals, and submit to the funding agencies, I think, and ask them to fund at least a contingency amount and minimum quantity of funds to run. I think they might consider it if you have competitive proposals. If it is really required and it's competitive proposals, they will definitely give. At least you have to write 3-4 grant a year, and you may get at least one if you cut down by 25%. Right? But you keep
Thank you,
writing
sir.
it because it's good practice to write
Sure, sir.
proposals. Yes, please. Anybody else? Yes, Dr. Sabah Khan. Yeah, you,
Yeah,
Sadaf Khan.
yeah, Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Ji.
Sir, my query is like this. Nowadays, what I have seen at a time of recruitment, even especially the private universities, so they have to ask like how many publication you have, the citation, everything. Okay, but according to me, I think to be a PhD scholar or having a PhD and to be a teacher is totally very different thing. If you are a good publisher or if you are a very good writer or something, but to be a teacher it's totally different. But at a time of recruitment, I have seen that private university asks for the whole publications and their focus is on the citation. And if you have seen nowadays, I think students also left the habit to go to library. I think a decade ago.
Yeah.
So you have to force the student to go to a library. If they are not going to go to library and to read, and the reading habit we have to cultivate in it, but they are not. So I want to know like how you have to relate these two things. Like somewhere nowadays the generation is very much like no need to go to library, ma'am. It's no need what we have to learn. They are more learning through the reels or through the Instagram, but they are not learning through the books. So my question is how in future we have to just force them to be a good researcher or a good like they have to write.
Yeah, I think your first part of your question is that regarding the recruitment, asking the publication and citation. That's true because, as I've told you earlier, because there's no other way to judge you in a 5 and 10 minutes of interview.
Yeah.
Right, because the experts which are there, they are not aware about your work, even within the field. Now, there are many of them, they are not aware of exactly what you have done in your research in 2-3 publications. So the only way is that to compare with the other fellows, that to how many papers you have and what is the impact factors, average impact factors and citations. And so these are, so there's no other way of it. So this is by default, experts are doing like that. So we cannot avoid that kind of things. Regarding the going students library or not library, I think the things have changed. So I still remember when I doing PhD, I used to sit in a library for hours and hours just for the reference current content and chemical abstracts and biological abstracts to look into the, maybe many of you probably may not aware about the current contents, those who are in very young one. And we have to note down on by pen down on the papers, and then we go to the NLM, National Medical Library in Delhi, from where we search these journals, copied it, and the whole day spent like 4, 5, 6 hours, and then we end up with a few papers came out of it after so much efforts to read it. Now things have changed. You just access e-journals. You just access the electronic journals on your accessing through your university library portal, if accessibility there, or even if it's not, university is not accessible, then you can connect with some IITs and others, with your friends, with your colleagues, with your students, friends. So that way you can access. Now I myself, for last at least more than 15 years or so, I haven't go to the library. So, but I'm doing good research. So libraries is at your desktop or in your laptop. So there's no need to, so that's not a big issue. But library should have proper e-journals accessibility to provide, our institution should have accessibility to the e-journals to provide better. Of course, Instagram and Google and kind of social media information is not acceptable for research. This is just like a kind of there's a lot of chance of, even I've seen many times Wikipedia, they have written so many absurd things in the text, and these things are not at par with the current knowledge of research, and it might misguide the students and new learners. So we should avoid that, definitely. For research, we should go with the peer-reviewed, published work always. Follow the peer-reviewed, published, whether through library accessibility or through e-library or through e-journals or through PubMed or through any online system, but they should be general. It should not be any kind of a social media. You cannot make base of your research on the social media, Instagram kind of a things. These are all like, to me, it's not acceptable.
Yeah, the thing is this library means here like reading habit. Reading
Yes.
habit is very much important. And I think at our time we have a books which we have to read, and I know okay this one is the right one, the right knowledge we are getting. But according to like the reels, Instagram and any other information, everybody is open with their opinion, everybody is coming with their own knowledge. But there is no guarantee. So I think nowadays what the student have to distinguish between the right knowledge and the fake knowledge.
Right.
So yeah, this is what I observed.
Yeah, I think this is very important. We should make a habit, reading habit, because the day you stop reading, you kill yourself in academics. This is what I believe. If you stop reading, you kill yourself. So you continue reading at least, because in spite of having, I'm very very busy in the terms like अभी आपने देख ही लिया एक मिनट में VC की कॉल आ गई और फिर इधर से कॉल आ गई, and I have responded. So having administrative kind of responsibilities, I'm also consistent researchers in the lab and work on it, but I still read papers, and regularly I monitor the check the PubMed, and I'm the first to tell my students that this is the new research. Students may not aware about it sometimes. हालांकि स्टूडेंट्स को पहले अवेयर होना चाहिए रिसर्च के बारे में ना, मुझे मेरे because I am not doing research, I am guiding research. I believe that students are the experts in the area. I'm not expert, but still I have to. So reading is very important.
Yeah, sir. This is
yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Any
morning,
other
sir.
question?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good afternoon, sir. Actually, सर मेरा क्वेश्चन रिसर्च पेपर पब्लिकेशन को लेकर है, जिसमें कि आपने बताया कि Q1 Q2 जर्नल्स में पेपर पब्लिश होना चाहिए। तो बेसिकली जैसे स्कोपस इंडेक्स जर्नल्स होते हैं, स्प्रिंगर इंडेक्स जर्नल हो गए, तो फिर वो हम देखें कि हम ये देखें कि वो Q1 Q2 लिस्ट ऑफ जर्नल्स में है या नहीं है?
नहीं, देखिए ऐसा ना, आप जर्नल मीडिएटेड रिसर्च नहीं कर सकते
जी।
You cannot go for journal mediated research. You have to focus on your objective and targets. Once you publish, once you attain the results based on the objective, then you have to look what are the possible journals where you can place this research. Once you identify 3, 4, 5, 6 journals, then you submit in the journals. Okay? And journals should be core journals is very important.
Core journals subject related.
हाँ, जैसे मान ली मैं काम करता हूँ AMR पे, एंटी माइक्रोबियल रेजिस्टेंस पे, तो कोर AMR जर्नल्स में मैं छापूंगा, मेरा रिकॉग्निशन ज्यादा होगा। अगर मैं हियर एंड देयर छापूंगा लेफ्ट एंड राइट, तो छप तो जाएंगे लेकिन मेरा रिकॉग्निशन नहीं होगा। मैंने किसी केमिस्ट्री में छाप दिया, यहाँ छाप दिया, वहाँ छाप दिया, तो नहीं होगा। आई थिंक दिस इज ऑलवेज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू फोकस ऑन द कोर जर्नल्स।
सर जैसे मेरा टॉपिक बायोइन्फॉर्मेटिक्स बायोटेक्नोलॉजी रिलेटेड है, तो मैंने एक पेपर अभी मेरा एक्सेप्ट हुआ है, इंप्रेस है करंट मेडिसिन केमिस्ट्री में, तो मेडिसिन रिलेटेड हो गया वो,
बैंथम जनरल
इसी को टॉपिक, बैंथम साइंस। तो ये सर ये Q1 Q2 में आएगा?
हाँ आएगा, आ सकता है, क्यों ऐसा नहीं है Q1 बैंथम में नहीं, हर प्रेस में Q1 Q2 जर्नल्स हैं।
ओके सर, ठीक है सर। और सर प्रोजेक्ट का जैसे कि सर आपने बताया, बहुत डिटेल डिस्क्रिप्शन सर आपने दिया प्रोजेक्ट में, तो सर आजकल जैसे अभी सर्व का और यूपीसीएसटी का सर, तो उसमें सर हर ही प्रोजेक्ट में सर को-पीआई फ्रॉम द सेम इंस्टीट्यूट सर मांगा हुआ है।
दे सकते हैं आप, किसी को नाम दे दीजिए, लेकिन उसको जस्टिफाई करना होगा आपको। हाँ, जस्टिफाई करना होगा आपको
सर जस्टिफिकेशन इस प्रोजेक्ट में डालना होगा कि मतलब क्या वर्कआउट उससे,
क्या वो व्हाट इज योर पार्ट, व्हाट इज हिज पार्ट। ठीक,
ओके थैंक्स अ लॉट सर।
एवरीथिंग इज डन नाउ। अच्छा, लास्ट में मैं एक चीज आपसे करूंगा, बिकॉज आई एम आल्सो वर्किंग ऑन AMR अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम इन द कंट्री। एंटी माइक्रोबियल रेजिस्टेंस प्रोग्राम मींस जो एक नया पेंडेमिक आने वाला है, मैं इस पर बात अभी नहीं करूंगा वरना 1 घंटा और लगेगा मुझे। दिस इज अ बिग प्रॉब्लम, वर्ल्ड वाइड प्रॉब्लम, और WHO ने और ICMR ने डिक्लेयर किया बाय 2050 जो है 10 लाख लोग मरेंगे हर साल, और दिस पेंडेमिक इज वेरी क्लोज आफ्टर COVID-19। सो I have been given a big project from DBT Government of India to make the awareness and the country-wide awareness। तो उसके लिए अभी मैं गुजरात गया हुआ था पिछले 3 दिन पहले, राजकोट, गुजरात, भुज, हम लोग मैं जाके भी, हमारी टीम है पूरी, वी वर्क ऑन दैट, एंड we try to make the people in a general way what are the AMR and how can you protect from the AMR. कुछ नुक्कड़ नाटक this and that कर के हम लोग करते हैं. This is also another part. So अभी जो है वो मैंने एक YouTube चैनल बनाया है जिसमें मैंने छोटी-छोटी वीडियोस डाली हुई हैं अवेयरनेस के लिए. वो हमारा उसी प्रोजेक्ट का पार्ट है. तो वो मैं आपसे शेयर कर रहा हूँ अपना चैनल लिंक. वीडियोस तो मैं शेयर नहीं कर सकता सारी. Those who are interested can look at this, maybe subscribe that channel and look these videos. They are very important videos, and if you share these videos with the groups, I think that would be a big support to our Indian population community, because otherwise we are going to face a big pandemic, even worse than COVID-19. ये मैं नहीं कर रहा, ये WHO की आप साइट पे जाके देख लीजिएगा. Next pandemic will be the AMR pandemic. Or WHO already declared, ICMR is already declared, and things are going worse and worse. So मैंने वो channel link डाल दे रहा हूँ quickly because I don't have time. Those who are, मैंने अभी share कर लिया आपसे, ये chat box में मैंने share किया है. इसको आप देख लीजिए और इसको note कर लीजिए, इसका screenshot ले लीजिए. So that way you can go through it, and कुछ videos जो आपको important लगे वो जब time मिले खाली वक्त में तब देख लीजिएगा. And that would be good for you and for whole community. ठीक है, this is all. Thank you very much for your time, and I think yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
ठीक है, thank you. Shall I close?
Thank you, sir, for this fruitful lecture.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
After
sir.
lecture.
क्या कर रहे हैं?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, I'm closing it. I think we must
Thank
have. Okay.
Excuse me. Can anyone answer, please? ये जो हमारा जो हमें Google Classroom दिया गया है, can we get a daily based assignment on that?
नहीं मैम, no ma'am.
Our assignments are already being assigned
ये आप
in the sheet. Only those 3 assignments we have to do.
हाँ जी. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Beside that, we don't have anything. Besides that, we don't have
If something
anything.
will be updated in the classroom, then I think we will know. But for now, only these 3 assignments have been assigned to us.
Three assignments. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
इसके बाद की क्लास की दोबारा से भी लिंक मिलेगी ना ग्रुप में हम लोगों को?
आपको नहीं होगी.
क्लास नहीं है मैम, तो they'll assign one class for language.
नहीं है.
कल तो एक लिंक शेयर हुई थी जिसमें हम लोग को वो गूगल क्लासरूम के बारे में बताया जा रहा था.
नहीं, लेकिन आज नहीं है. बस आगे से
आज नहीं
12 बजे तक ही क्लास चलेगी बस.
अच्छा, आज से.
Does anyone know where we can download the book Food for Thought from? किसी को Food for Thought वाली जो किताब है वो कहाँ से मिलेगी, कुछ पता है?
कौन सी बुक?
वो ग्रुप में शेयर किया जाएगा. Food for Thought, जिसके किसी एक चैप्टर के आधार पे असाइनमेंट बनाना है, लेक्चर तैयार करना है. Food for Thought नाम की जो किताब है वो कहाँ से मिलेगी?
प्लीज एक करके बोलिए सर, समझ नहीं आ रहा है.
आज इस क्लास के बाद कोई भी लिंक शेयर नहीं होगी और कोई भी क्लास नहीं होगी ना अभी, तो इसके बाद जैसे कल हुई थी.
जी नहीं, अभी इसके बाद कोई क्लास नहीं है.
ओके सर.
आप में से
क्लास कब होगा सर?
वो कंपलसरी नहीं है, आपकी स्वेच्छा पे है.
नहीं तो they'll share लिंक ना, तो
हाँ,
लिंक कहाँ से?
लिंक शेयर करेंगे, आप चाहे तो उसको ज्वाइन कर सकते.
अच्छा, तो ये आप कौन सी बुक की बात कर रहे थे सर अभी?
सॉरी, फूड फॉर थॉट नाम की किताब जो है, जिसके किसी एक चैप्टर के आधार पे दूसरा लेक्चर, वीडियो लेक्चर तैयार करना है, वो किताब किसी के पास उपलब्ध है क्या, या वो किताब आइडिया है?
सर मुझे दोबारा से उसके राइटर का नाम बताएंगे. फूड फॉर
मैडम वो राइटर का नहीं है, वो बेसिकली AMU HRDC के ही द्वारा दिया गया किताब है।
So they will provide us, na? We will ask them and they will provide us.
अच्छा ठीक है, मुझे लगा आपको पता है।
नहीं,
अगर
इन्होंने
किसी
बुलाया
और
है,
को
जो
इसके बारे में
बुलाया है वो
If
बताई जाएगी सर।
know the writer, तब तो फिर maybe I'll arrange it.
क्लास में स्टोरी बताई जाएगी, उन पर तैयार करना है।
नहीं, स्टोरी बताई नहीं जाएगी।
यही
फूड
बात
फॉर
बोल रहे थे।
क्लासरूम पर स्टोरीज अपलोड करेंगे इन
शायद
वीडियो फॉर्मेट। वहां आपको
नहीं
किसी एक
नहीं ऐसा
स्टोरी को
नहीं
पिक
है,
करना
ऐसा
है
नहीं
और
है।
कमेंट करना है।
नहीं 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 ऐसा
जी।
नहीं है, आपको मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग हुई है। किताब ना कोई वीडियो दिखाया जाएगा, ना कोई कहानी सुनाई जाएगी, ना पढ़ाई जाएगी। वो एक किताब है फूड फॉर थॉट, जिसका सॉफ्ट कॉपी हमें उपलब्ध करवाएंगे और उसमें से किसी एक चैप्टर को आपको खुद पढ़ के उसके आधार पे आपको एक लेक्चर बनाना है। अगर आप में से किसी को वो किताब उपलब्ध है, जिसका उसका सॉफ्ट कॉपी अगर आपके पास उपलब्ध है, तो आप प्लीज शेयर कीजिए। मैं बस यही कह रहा
जी,
हूँ।
एक्चुअली मेरी एक कॉलीग ने FIP19 किया है, मैं उनसे बात करूंगी, अगर उनके पास है तो वो प्रोवाइड कर देंगी और उनके पास
हाँ,
इंफॉर्मेशन भी
वो
होगी
दैट
इसके
विल बी
रिगार्डिंग।
वेरी एंटरप्राइजिंग एंड काइंड ऑफ यू मैम, इफ यू कैन डू दैट।
कल मॉर्निंग में डाउट
श्योर,
क्लियर
आई
कर
विल
देना ना।
आई विल डू दैट एंड
Excuse me,
शेयर विद
सर,
यू
जो
ऑल।
ग्रुप
जैसा
बनने
कुछ
की
मिलता है
बात हो रही थी कि 2 ग्रुप में डिवाइड कर देंगे, तो उसमें क्या मतलब, जैसे हमारा ग्रुप यही वाला जिसमें हमें लिंक दिया गया, उसी ग्रुप में हम मतलब हमें सारी
आपके पास जो
इन्फॉर्मेशन।
लिंक आएगा आप उसी ग्रुप में होगे मैम, अपने आप ऑटोमेटिकली वही लिंक
एक्चुअली
आएगा
सर,
आपके पास।
हाँ एक्चुअली सर, मैं जिस ग्रुप में कल थी उसी ग्रुप में मैं आज भी हूँ, और उसी में जो लिंक आया था उससे मैंने ज्वाइन किया था, तो इसीलिए
उसके बारे में
सर
सोचना नहीं है, जो लिंक आपको मिलेगा उसी को ज्वाइन करना है।
अच्छा, इसके बाद वाली जो क्लास है वो कंपलसरी नहीं है, चाहे तो कर सकते हैं, नहीं चाहे तो नहीं कर सकते, ऐसा कुछ नहीं
15
है,
तारीख
अटेंडेंस में
तक
मार्क
आपको
होगा।
टीचर प्रेजेंटेशन देना है इसमें। गूगल क्लासरूम में 15 तारीख तक आपको टीचर प्रेजेंटेशन कंपलसरी है।
15
लेकिन
तारीख
सर
तक, और उसके
वीडियो में
पहले का कोई
प्रेजेंट कर, वो तो वीडियो में बना के हमको अपलोड कर देना है ना।
वीडियो में करना है।
5 to 7
पहले का
मिनट का
कोई
वीडियो
असाइनमेंट नहीं
बना
है
के अपलोड।
टीचर प्रेजेंटेशन के पहले का असाइनमेंट कुछ है?
अभी कुछ नहीं है उसमें, वही असाइनमेंट है जितने 4-5 है आपके पास।
हाँ, तो
3 they have given us ना, 3
हम्म
1 for
फिर उसकी
वीडियो,
बस
यानी
कोई
कि
है?
हमारा लेक्चर प्रेजेंटेशन है, दूसरा एक असाइनमेंट है जो स्टोरी बेस्ड है, और एक हमारा जो टॉपिक्स दिए हुए हैं हमारे उसमें टॉपिक्स में से एक टॉपिक NEP का, एक टॉपिक हमें रिसर्च फॉर्म में देना है, बस। दीज आर द 3।
जी मैम, एक क्विज भी है बाद में, लास्ट में क्विज है,
एक क्विज है।
क्विज हाँ।
अच्छा, एट द लास्ट ऑफ द
लास्ट में
अच्छा
आपका जो आपको टाइम टेबल मिला है, सेशंस मिला है, उसमें टीचर प्रेजेंटेशन 15 तारीख तक है। 26 तक फिर आपको वो दूसरा प्रेजेंटेशन देना है असाइनमेंट वाला। वो पूरा आपका जो टाइम टेबल है उसे आप चेक कर लीजिए, सब चीजें उसमें क्लियर है।
ठीक है सर,
सर
थैंक यू।
नेक्स्ट क्लास होगी क्या कोई 1:30 से?
मैम कोई क्लास नहीं है, आप गूगल क्लासरूम पर देखें, आज पहले दिन है, पता चल जाएगा कोई एक्टिविटी है। अदरवाइज हम लोगों को रेगुलर, कुछ लोगों को, थोड़े लोगों को एक वीडियो बना के अपना टीचर प्रेजेंटेशन डालना है
गूगल क्लासरूम में ही।
15 तारीख तक। अभी ऐसा कुछ क्लियर नहीं है कि रेगुलर बैठना है उसमें।
हाँ,
आज
मतलब
क्लियर
सर
हो
कल तो
जाएगा।
हो रहा था क्लास, और उसमें मतलब हम
नहीं कल तो उसका दिया था ना, वो तो उसके टाइम टेबल में दिया था कल के लिए। आज के लिए केवल टीचर प्रेजेंटेशन लिखा है उसमें, आप देखिए।
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर।
वेलकम है।
तो सर टीचर प्रेजेंटेशन वो तो हमको वीडियो ही बनाना है, हमें थोड़ा क्लास में जाना थोड़ी ना है हमें बस।
मैम मैं वही कह रहा हूँ कि हमको नहीं जाना है, 15 तारीख तक सबको अपना अपना बनाना। हो सकता है 10 आज बना, कल दे दें, 10 परसों दे दें। तो आज हम पहले दिन देख लेते हैं, उसमें कुछ कोई नई एक्टिविटी तो नहीं आ रही, वैसे होगी नहीं, ऐसे ही करना है, रेगुलर कंपलसरी नहीं है वो।
हाँ जी,
ज्वाइन करके देख लीजिए फिर भी।
तो सर ज्वाइन का तो एक पर्टिकुलर टाइम होता है ना कि भाई ज्वाइन उस टाइम पे करेंगे भाई। क्लास
आज 1:30 दिया है ना उन्होंने, टीचर प्रेजेंटेशन का टाइम आपके टाइम टेबल में 1:30 दिया हुआ है।
अच्छा
आप
तो
एक बार पूरा टाइम टेबल चेक कर लीजिए, जो आपके सेशंस हो रहे हैं, कौन आपको रिसोर्स पर्सन कौन है, ये सब कुछ उस टाइम टेबल में आपको दिया हुआ है।
हाँ है सर वहाँ पे,
एक बार आप चेक कर लीजिए, सब मिल जाएगा आपको।
ठीक है सर। ओके, थैंक यू सर।
वेलकम मैम। ठीक है।